much, and good evening, everyone. Welcome officially to the June 11th, 2025 meeting of the Baltimore County Design Review Panel. This meeting is now called to order, and I am the chair of the panel, Joseph Yusufero. We'll start with a roll call to account for the members of the panel present on this meeting. When you hear your name, please say aye. Mr. Can.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Good evening. Oh, that's okay.
I'm Con. I
I'll
guess
go
it was
to
close enough. I apologize.
That's okay. I'll go to Mr. Can, C-A-H-N, next.
Yeah, that's Con, but yes, thank you.
Okay, Con and
Sorry
Can.
about that.
I get it now. Thank you and welcome. Good evening. Mr. Sala, is Mr. Sala on? I don't see Mr. Sala. Mr. Sharma.
Aye.
Thank you. Good evening. Is
Good
Ms.
evening.
Sauce on yet? I don't see Ms. Sauce. Okay, so we officially have a quorum for the first two projects, and we'll hopefully get one more member for the third project because of a conflict of interest. Okay. Marta, are there any changes to the tentative agenda as published and up on the screen currently?
No, there are no changes. The only change is that the third project will be chaired by Mr. Donald Kahn.
Thank you. And I will go ahead and make an announcement as we get closer to that project. So at this point, we'd like to review and hopefully approve the minutes from the May 14th, 2025 DRP meeting. So in an email dated May 22nd, 2025, my fellow panel members received minutes from the May 14th, 2025 meeting. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the draft minutes? Hearing no comments, I'm going to assume that we all had an opportunity to review the draft minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes of the May 14th, 2025 DRP meeting? Hearing no corrections or additions, and because of that, who would like to make a motion to accept the minutes as circulated?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Can. There's a motion to accept the minutes as circulated. Do I have a second?
Second.
Sorry, was that Mr. Sharma?
No, Om Kurjeker.
Mr. Kurjakar. All right, you are on the panel and you are at the meeting. Thank you. Consider this roll call. Second by Mr. Kurjakar. All in favor, if you could come off of mute and say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. So at this point, it's my obligation to read an opening statement as it relates to the design review panel. So if everyone could mute their lines, I'm going to take a few minutes to read this opening statement, then we'll jump into the specific projects. Title 4, Subtitle 2, Part 1, Sections 32.4.203 and 204 establish the Design Review Panel. We use the acronym DRP. The DRP was established to encourage design excellence and shall act in a consulting and advisory capacity to the agencies involved in the process for reviewing development plans. The objectives for the DRP's assessment include spatial, visual, and functional relationship to the topographical characteristics, the natural and built features of the site, as well as the surrounding features of the site, visual and functional integration of streetscapes, pedestrian pathways, playgrounds, recreational amenities and parks. Streets and sidewalks are laid out in a safe and convenient manner, and parking is a positive design element. Building, parking garages, and other structures are spatially and visually integrated and suitable to their surroundings in proportion, massing, and type of materials and colors, signage and other elements of urban design as well. The plant materials are selected and cited to define the site, provide a theme, frame a view, enhance architecture and street character, improve microclimate, provide transition between dissimilar uses, screen objectionable views and uses, and reduce noise levels and glare. In carrying out its duties, the DRP utilizes the guidelines, plans, and architectural principles in the Comprehensive Manual of Development Policies and/or Master Plan, as well as other guidelines and regulations adopted into law. Certain areas of the county were designated by the County Council to require review by the DRP. The panel will provide a technical review of the proposed project. Issues relative to zoning, setback relief, environmental, and stormwater management, as well as traffic regulations, do not fall under the purview of the DRP and are regulated through the appropriate agencies responsible for those aspects of the development plan review process. The panel consists of 9 members. All are professionals with practical knowledge in the matters of design. For purposes of making recommendations on a particular project, 3 members shall constitute a quorum. The attendance and comments of each member shall be recorded in the minutes, which shall be an open record and available, along with all documents submitted to the panel for inspection and copying by the public. There will be an opportunity for the community to offer comments and suggestions at the conclusion of the applicant's presentation. These comments will also be included in the written record of the meeting. When a speaker is called up to speak, please keep your comments focused on design perspectives within your allotted 2 minutes of time. And if you're speaking on behalf of a community group, you will be allowed 5 minutes to speak. At the conclusion of the meeting, the Department of Planning will sum up the recommendations of the panel before a motion for a vote is suggested. Recent legislation has changed the panel's recommendations to be advisory on the hearing officer and the various county agencies, unless the hearing officer or agencies find the panel's actions constitute an abuse of its discretion or are unsupported by the documentation and evidence presented. Disposition of the plan will be determined as either approved with conditions, or additional review with a second meeting being required. Thank you very much for allowing me to review this and read this opening statement. As we proceed forward with the items on the agenda, there's 3 items. The first one is 1800 Circle Road in the RAIA residential review area. Item number 2 is 700 Eastern Boulevard for a Taco Bell in the Essex commercial review area. And the third is 205 Back River Neck Road for a McDonald's in the Essex commercial review area. So we'll go ahead and proceed to item number 1. Again, 1800 Circle Road in the RAIA residential review area. If the presenter could please introduce yourself, the floor is yours, and please try to keep your presentation to 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Peter Radcliffe, architect in Baltimore County. I'm here to present the Circle Road property that you see in front of you for Joseph and Eden Denardi. We've been working with them for maybe a couple of years in discussion about what to do with their current house. Their children are outgrowing the current house, their families growing outside, and it's a very modest in terms of the accommodations in the bedrooms and the first floor, and they are ready for an improvement. We're going to show in this submission what we're proposing to improve, and we'll break it down best we can. I'll run through these slides in the order that Marta has, is providing them to me, and I'll do my best to give you all the information I think you need, and then, obviously we'll go to questions. Right now you're looking at a proposed front facade, which you'll see more in-depth renderings, 3D and otherwise, and drawings for the floor plans and the expansion plans. But in general, it's stated on here on this sheet that it's 6,888 square feet. The existing house is around 3,800 square feet. The basement, there's an expansion, includes a basement of about 1,000 square feet. So the reality is that we're adding about 2,000 square feet, a third of which is on the first floor and 2/3 of which is on the second floor. and I'll get into that detail. But in general, I think I'll show you in greater detail why we feel the massing and the design and the architectural elements are appropriate for Circle Road, in keeping with Circle Road's context, respectful of the size of the lot and the surrounding houses, and we think that it's a good fit, and the Nardis are very excited about it. We move to the next sheet, which is showing you the context and the location on Circle Road. It's an aerial view. Maybe we might use this later for a reference point if anybody has questions. And please, if anybody wants to interrupt me at any time and to ask a question, please do so. But you can basically, we're providing this information per the DRP guidelines about where that's located on the aerial. The next sheet, images showing context. The left image aerial, the center image is a view of the house to the left, looking up Circle Road. The image to the third to the right is looking at the house to the right, up Circle Road. And it's at the top of Circle Road. Next image, please. More context images. Probably the most telling is the top right is the front facade of the house. So we're really not dramatically changing the footprint at all, just more or less the height and massing of the house, as you'll see. The other images are showing the conditions of the existing yard and the surrounding, the edges of the properties. Next image, please. The left image represents the footprint and site plan of the existing house, and the right image represents our footprint expansions. We started speaking to Baltimore County Environmental a little over 2.5, 3 years ago. They were having some septic condition issues, and they hadn't been in the house for very long, and they needed repairs. They made repairs. They expressed to the Department of Environment that they wanted to expand their house. And we did a lot of perk testing. We did a lot of testing in collaboration with Baltimore County, and they basically concluded they were not going to be able to expand beyond a 4-bedroom house. So today we're proposing not to change from a 4-bedroom. We're maintaining an existing 4-bedroom and just expanding and enlarging the accommodations of the whole house, living areas, bedroom sizes, rec areas, et cetera, et cetera. But we got collaboratively, we had the Department of Environment analyze our plans and felt that what we're proposing meets their standards, which of course they'll review again when we submit for permit after this. But just letting you know that there's been a lot of preparation for this, because really was limited by septic issues. So you'll see some more detailed site plans moving forward. But one more point here, though. We are very close to our side yard setbacks on both sides. We are not asking for any variance relief. We are modestly expanding toward the sides, but you'll see it's pretty modest. The majority of the 90% of all the addition is toward the rear and up. There's a modest, only about 150, 200 feet of front porch, which is more aesthetic and some experiential stuff for the front that you'll see. Move on, please. Next image. This is a site plan left, existing, and a landscape plan, proposed landscape plan to the right. For the most part, we're not really taking out any trees at all. It's really just damage to a lot of the ground base landscaping around the facade of the home. We're adding perimeter edge landscaping, proposed modest various native plants and native grasses, and just landscape in the front along Circle Road. The information's greater detail if we zoom in and get to it if you're interested. We replaced a modest hedge on the left side and introduced a newer hedge with some more decorative plantings. We feel we've introduced a very attractive collection of planting and varietal plants for the baseline of the house. We introduced some plantings around some of the septic system componentry in the front yard to add some character as well, just to further disguise that. When we show you our 3D animated images, I think they represent this pretty well. But if we want to get back into questions about that, maybe we'll return to this slide rather than dwell on it. Maybe we go to the next slide. This is a 3D rendering of the existing of the front home. Maybe we would flip to the next slide and then come back to this, and maybe go back and forth a couple times. This is the proposed new front. We stay here. Basically, to the left is the current primary suite, and all we've done was lift that roof and to basically the primary suite staying on the first level, and we're adding upper level expansion. We've maintained the homes. We haven't, we didn't come anywhere close to the height restrictions. We're well under the 50-foot required. I think we're in the 34-foot range. Basically, we maintained a 1.5-story kind of a Cape Cod look. There's a current front-facing garage. It's modest. We expanded to the right for that, and we anchored that roof to the right. So basically, if you flip back to the existing, one slide back, please, and then you'll see the massing of the garage. There's a single car garage door to the right. The old garage was infilled. They want to bring that back part of it, and we put a second floor to anchor the expansion of the second floor over the center. We put a second floor, a 1.5-story over the garage. Anyway, if you want to go back to the front facade again, that's the current landscaping too, and that generally shows the landscape, the new front walk, the new accent roofing and front porch area. Really, there's no room for the garage to exist unless it's facing forward, and historically the house garage, both doors face forward, only one faces forward, so we're going to two. We can go to the next slide. I'll keep moving at a decent pace. This is existing side view, left side view. Next slide, please. Proposed, we lifted the roof about 3 feet, the eave line, so that we could gain necessary roof lines and heights in order to get the bedroom and bathroom expansions that are desired on the upper level without changing the footprint on this side at all. So we think it's an attractive way to pull the roofs together. We've added and increased the detail of the soffits, the eaves, the moldings, the crown molding, the rake detailing, and I guess we took it to kind of another level in terms of a mid-Atlantic classic Cape Cod style, clapboard style house. Next slide, please. Existing rear, pretty straightforward. The next drawing. Proposed rear, basically that's where the massing, the most of our height we preserved to the rear, trying to keep the front of the house to be more in scale with a 1.5-story. We didn't want to overwhelm the lot, but to get the height and the size of the rooms, this is how we achieve that on the rear. And when I show you the plans, I think a lot more of this will make sense. We also preserved a section of the house to the left where that left porch is. That's just an extension of existing roof line. Maybe we go to the next slide. Cross sections, if anyone wants to get into questions about this, we can reference this back, but it's part of our requirements in the presentation. But I don't know, maybe not much explanation is needed. These are the 2D existing facade elevations, and if we keep moving through this, you'll see the proposed 2D facades. Keep going, and then I'll get into the floor plans after this and show you guys, walk you around, but just proposed and existing, you can compare. Let's go to the floor plans. I want to make sure I get through it. We've got about 9 minutes in. So the existing foundation, there's no basement to speak of, a very modest section. Next plan, please. Proposed basement expansion is basically footprint of the proposed above. We're adding some basement area for some exercise, improved space for mechanical equipment for the addition, and we put a staircase down under the current stair. But generally speaking, we're getting about 900 square feet of new basement, 950 square feet of new basement. No living area. Next slide. Existing house, basically in the center, you see a galley kitchen. To the right, center, back, there's a family room that exists. And then you'll see the front right is the garage, the old garage, plus a garage to the right, which is currently used as like a rec area. And then left, all left is the current primary bedroom suite with a living room, dining room in the rear. So you'll see the next plan, I think it'll read clearly what we've done. Next page, please. We basically opened up the center point in the kitchen. You'll see the big kitchen island, and it relates to the dining and seating area. To the left is a separate sunroom It's all glassed in room that has some adjacency and separation from that living area. To the right of the kitchen, it's the current existing family room that's not changing. It's a vaulted space. We extended that roof line to the back to create the covered porch area. Towards the front and center, we introduced an entry foyer hall. If I showed you the old building, the entry is way to the left. We brought it to the center of the building. There's a current staircase where it is today, where we're showing it. We're flipping it and putting a stair down to the basement and going upstairs in a different direction. So it's a rather dramatic rebuild of this house. And then to the right is mudroom entry, garage, and office. And then to the left is an expanded primary suite and bath and closets. And then a modest patio area in the back. And then, mostly decorative front porch, but also for hanging out. They enjoy the neighborhood and then, being able to enjoy the streetscape. Next slide. There's your existing 4-bedroom, 3 bedrooms upstairs, primary suite downstairs. This upstairs is receiving 778 square feet, basically 1,800 square feet, 1,780 square feet of expanded area, and we'll show you that next. That's a majority of the proposed expansion to the first and second floor. Next, you'll see how we expanded that. Basically, we, to the left, we lifted the roof, and the front left is over the master. There's going to be over the primary suite below. There's some vaulting and some attic storage. Basically, we rearranged the second floor to get much more generous bedrooms and baths for all our kids, and then home office, playroom, home office for the parents. Both work remotely a lot. The kids do homework remotely a lot. So there's a big rec area on the second level because it's modest basement, and a big home office area to the top right. And then over the garage, we basically plan to make that just storage. They like the massing of the second floor. They may want to expand into a rec area further, but right now it's planned just purely to be built in as storage area, which they desperately need as well. Moving on to the next slide. Choice of materials. We're talking about using a Grand Manor Certainty, which is a colonial slate style, which is basically the best asphalt shingle, most textured, attractive asphalt shingle out there. So in my opinion, it's best looking and the highest performing of all of the roofs that are available to us for a reasonable price. We're using aluminum gutters, clapboard, hardy plank siding with corner boards, standing seam aluminum metal roof, which right now is proposed to be, a brown copper-like look. They're considering using a real copper, but they'd like to keep that in the budget as a painted Kynar roof. Right now, we're showing the Pella Lifestyle Series, basically an SDL simulated divided light grills inside out, carriage style garage doors, carriage style lighting fixtures. And so that's pretty much what DRP is asking us to present. And I'd offer to you that I might open the floor for questions and comments.
Super. Thank you very much, Mr. Ratcliffe, for the presentation. Nice job.
Thank you.
So at this time, the floor will be open for any kind of public input or feedback from the community. So as a reminder, if you're representing a community group, you will be allowed 5 minutes to speak. Those who do not represent a community group will be allowed 2 minutes to speak. Marta, Jennifer, are there any speakers from the public that have signed up and wish to speak?
I don't see anybody signed up or requesting to speak. I'm not sure if the attendees intended to speak or not.
And I don't see anyone who requested to speak too. I know we have some attendees, but I don't think anyone requested to speak.
Okay. This online meeting's a bit tough at times to be known. So I'm going to go ahead and close the public comment period. But Marta or Jennifer, if anybody either raises their hand or adds to the chat that they wish to speak, we'll go ahead and go back to them. So this will officially close the public comment period. So we'll go ahead and open up the floor to the panel members for discussion. So because this is a residential project, we have a specific residential reviewer. So we'll go ahead and go to Mr. Khan, CAHN, first for Mr. Khan's comments.
Number one, thank you, Mr. Radcliffe, for a tremendous presentation, and it's a huge improvement to what is already a very pretty home. So, and I know based on lack of feedback from a community perspective that they are very supportive of what you're proposing and looking forward to you all moving forward. So thank you for that. Just want to get a couple of areas of clarification. And these are all areas that you mentioned, so I just want to reconfirm. Even though there's a little tighter encroachment, I guess, on the southeast corner of the property, as I understand it, no variances are going to be required. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. No variances are required.
Okay, terrific. Height of the house
Well,
currently?
well, I would say that we're in the spirit. There was a former variance, I think, approved years ago for the proximity to the side yard on the garage to the right. I don't have that historic data, but we are not encroaching any further to outside the restriction line than currently exists on the right side garage. We are just straightening that wall. The left side, we're getting closer to the required setback, but we don't need variances, and we're not encroaching on any setbacks that are required.
And quite frankly, we also have not heard from any of the neighbors with concern as it relates, but I just wanted to confirm that. Height of the house today versus the peak of the height moving forward?
Sure. I'm going to need that slide probably, unless Carter, if you have that in front of you, you can speak to it. But why don't we go to the? We'll stop you when you get to it. Keep going to the 2D facade. There. Keep going. Keep going. Right here, it should. If we zoom in on that, I can give you that data. There should be the zoom into the left side of that house. Unless Carter, you want to speak up to that?
Yeah, sure. We've got the existing peak of the existing roofs at 20 feet 9 inches as existing, and we're proposing 28.8 at the very peak of that southern roof, and I guess with the allowable maximum of 50 feet for the DR1 side. So yes, well within the requirements, but that does give us that headroom on the upper floor to have some movable bedrooms.
I apologize, Carter. I could not hear you. What's the current height versus the proposed height? I'm sorry. I did hear it was well within standard. Sorry.
Can we shift this? This image is perfect, but go to the left side of the house. There's where our information's on the left side of the house. Slide the image all the way to the left side of the house, please. It'll read very clearly because the roof lines in red are shown. So we have an existing 20'9" in that, it shows it there with the red line, and then the proposed is 28. Is that what it says? 28.8, and that's showing you that expanded height.
Perfect. Okay, that's. I was wondering on that. One other question: the area over the garage, will the only access point be through the house, or would that have a separate outside entrance?
We do not currently have on the first floor or the second or both?
Well, the second floor of the garage. I'm sorry.
The second floor of the garage is currently storage access only from the second floor kids' work area.
Okay, so there'd be no concern of turning that into a separate living area, at least at this point.
We're restricted. We can't do it anyway. I mean, we don't have septic capacity. We're not allowed to do it.
Okay.
We won't pass permitting. We've been down this road for 2 years now with the environment.
No separate plumbing or anything else that would go in there.
No, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions. This is a tremendous improvement. The association is supportive. I'm fully supportive. Really, really nicely done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Let's go to Mr. Kann, Kann, next. Donald? You might be on mute.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry to confuse you with everybody's names this evening. I think the presentation was very good. I really don't have any comments. I think it's a improvement, as you said a few minutes ago, to already existing very nice home, and certainly is consistent with the character of that community. So I don't have any comments.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Can. Let's go to Mr. Sharma.
Hello, everyone again. So I have a question and a comment. If you go on page number 1, which can visibly shows that there's a color difference between the roof and the front porch. Okay, so it's aesthetically a little challenging. I don't have much problem with that. The other question is that the porch, is this a metal roof or a solar panel? Because somewhere along those pages, specifically on page number 13, I saw that it's a reflective material. So that's my question. Other than that, everything looks good.
It's a raised seam metal roof with a Kynar finish, and it's meant to be an aged brown to look like copper, which is a very traditional, natural material and very, much in keeping with this aesthetic and this historic period of architecture. When you go, often you shift an asphalt roof or a shingle roof or a slate roof. Historically, we go to a lower pitch, lower roof where snow and ice and water collide and collect. They often shifted to metal roof because they shed water and hold more durability. So it's not only an aesthetic that we appreciate and like, it also has historic precedence and purpose.
All right, thank you. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Let's go to Ms. Sauce. I think I saw Ms. Sauce out there. Yes.
Yes, I am here. Good evening. Thank you for a really good presentation, very thoughtful design. Just a couple questions. I might have missed this because I was having connection issues. I don't recall seeing a landscape plan with quantities and call outs really.
Zoom in
The
on this.
renderings.
You want to zoom in on
The
that
renderings are great.
It's consistent with what we've proposed and presented before, and it's not calling out every specific tree, but it calls out a Rose of Sharon and various layering plants of bed and flowers and perennials and grass plants, and shows the perimeter, the edge new bed planting along circle to provide some additional quality value detailing along circle. We're not removing any trees. We're adding some landscape to accent and cover and hide the septic system componentry in the front yard, and we're replacing all the base foundation planting throughout the house with a variety of perennials and native plants to replace what's there and to beautify
Okay, you said the magic word, native. That's that's what I was looking for. Just would like to recommend that you try to do as much native planting as possible. And yeah, that's great. No trees are going to be removed, so no arborist needs to be brought on unless there's some really tight landscaping for the improvements. So that sounds good. That's all the comments that I have for this project.
Great,
Great.
thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Sauce. Let's go to Mr. Kurjakar as we round out the panel members.
Thank you. Again, I just want to applaud you for a great presentation. I feel the scale of the house, the character of the house is much in tune with the neighborhood and the existing. I love white houses, so it's actually a very, very cool house. Two questions. One, was there a landscape architect involved on the project?
So we had Stuart Ortel, who's a very well-known architect,
Okay.
oversee this. Sometimes we hire him to do a more formalized plan for us for the DRP presentations. He reviewed this, but he didn't put his name on it. We felt that was sufficient. He'll probably get more involved later, but at this time, we felt this was a really nice representation of what we intend to do. And, obviously, this is quite an investment, so I think they'll continue to develop even further creatively the landscape. And if you guys, anyway, I guess that's the best way I can answer the question.
Okay, no, thank you. That's sufficient. Second question. Well, actually, a recommendation. I think I couldn't see what the south side of the house, the tree cover, how far it is. It shows a tree line close to the new, sort of addition and expansion. But when I look at like the renderings and it being the south side and also the house is tallest, I would like to suggest for you to consider maybe some taller trees on that side to sort of help with the scale and then really the sun exposure from that side. I understand those views are probably going to be really great, but this might help in the long run. So it's just a recommendation. And then the last question is on the garage doors and on the materials page, the color of the door is a darker color. However, in one of the renderings, it's much lighter. And I kind of, again, it's a personal preference, but I felt like it was too light if you looked at the other, elements. And I wanted to just ask what the reason for the lighter color was, or is that just a rendering thing?
I'd suggest that it's partially a rendering thing, partially, the current sentiment was to, pardon me, to stain the door, and that's our plan, to do a light stain on the door to complement the front door and to be somewhat, I don't know, respectful of the brown of the copper roof and finding that palette and that there's a little bit of relationships going on there. So yeah, I think it's partially rendering. I think it's hard to render exactly the final stain color, much less pick a final stain color on anything, to be honest with you.
Understand. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, thank you for this presentation. I have no concerns or further comments.
Thank you, Mr. Kurjakar. And I go last, and I have no comments. So nicely done. So we're at a time where we'd like to move to disposition. Who would like to make a motion on the project? Reminder that we can approve it. We can approve it with conditions, or we can require the applicant to come back for a second meeting if the comments are too big.
I can make a motion.
Please.
What I heard was there were no concerns or real comments. There were more questions. I would like to make a motion to approve the project as presented.
That's great, Mr. Kurjakar. Department of Planning, I think that's about as succinct and direct as we've had before. Do I have a second?
I have a question
Yes, sir.
that I would add to that, if it's acceptable, that the final landscape plan be reviewed by the staff, since there's some potential that it will evolve from what we're seeing.
So I think that from a county permit and development standpoint, there are, Mr. Can, obligations that the applicant would have to submit plans for review and approval, as well as permits and certain bonds. So that is a requirement. So I don't think we need to make that a condition. That would just follow the standard development process.
Okay, then I'd second the motion.
Mr. Kurjakar, just for just to be very clear, could you remake and restate your motion?
Sure. Since I heard no comments or major concerns, I would like to make a motion to approve the project as presented today.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Mr. Can. All in favor, if you could come off of mute and say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Ratcliffe, and please pass along congratulations to the Dinardi family.
Thank you all. Enjoy your evening. Much appreciated.
Okay, so we will proceed forward to item number 2, which is 700 Eastern Boulevard for the Taco Bell in the Essex Commercial Review area. So if the presenter would please introduce yourself, the floor is yours.
Mr. Yusufero, this is Dino LaFiandra. I represent Essex Investors LLC, which is the owner and developer of this site. And I have with me Joe DiPascale, who is also with Essex Investors. I have Brian Cleary, who is a civil engineer and responsible for the site layout. And I have Anna Attab, who is an architect, who is also responsible for the architecture of this particular site. I will just kind of describe the project briefly, and then I think I'm going to turn it over really to Mr. Cleary and Ms. Attab to go through the slides. If we could just move to the next slide, please. There's currently this is Essex Investors owns these 2 properties, which are side by side on Eastern Boulevard. It's the 700 block, and these 2 properties together really comprise the entire block. There is an existing Taco Bell restaurant, which is about 20, 22, 23 years old. It measures approximately 2,500 square feet. And also there's another parcel which has a approximately 100-year-old 1,100 square foot single family dwelling. The proposal is to raise these 2 structures, scrape the site, combine the parcels, and build a new modern 2,700 square foot Taco Bell restaurant with an indoor seating capacity of 40 and an outdoor seating area. We find ourselves in this process. We submitted an application for a zoning variance. The site, as you'll see on the site layout, there's 24 parking spaces which are proposed, and we needed a variance for that number. And during the review of that variance, we became aware of the project being in the Essex Commercial Review area. So in consultation with the Department of Planning, we made this application to the DRP, and that's how we are here today. So this slide, just before I turn it over to Mr. Cleary, this is the 700 block in blue of Eastern Boulevard. You can see kind of through the blue lines, we've got about 2/3 of the block is the existing Taco Bell restaurant with the associated parking. And then on the east side, where you see the grass, you would also see that there's the existing single family home, and that's the existing site. On both sides so we're on a commercial corridor on Eastern Boulevard, and further off of Eastern on both sides, we've got residential zoning. So that's the layout of that's the site context right there. And then I will turn this next slide over to Mr. Cleary, who can talk about existing conditions and go from there.
Sure. So this is a survey, excuse me, of the existing property. As you can see, there is an access to the Taco Bell from Eastern Boulevard and also from North Stewart Street. Patrons enter the Taco Bell from Eastern into a double row of parking, and then they can either park there to go into the building or proceed to the rear through the drive-through. The double row parking out front of the building has 20 spaces, and then there's an additional 13 on the west side of the property. I consider those 30 spaces to be essentially useless since you have to pass through the drive-through lane to get to the building. So I think they were only added to meet ordinance requirements. Then on the east of the property is the existing single-family residence along Hartman Avenue. We can move to the next slide. So these are just a few of the photos of the current property. So the top left is along Eastern Boulevard, looking, I guess, northeast. The second one is directly across the street from the Taco Bell on Eastern. The third one on the top is once again along Eastern, but looking west. And finally, the last one is on Stewart Street, looking east. Then the bottom left is the drive-through lane to the rear of the property. The next one is looking at the trash enclosure towards the rear of the property. Then the last two are just images of the existing single-family residence. You can go to the next sheet. Then these are just images of the roadway along both sides of the property and Stewart Avenue, showing that Eastern Boulevard is a commercial corridor, and behind the subject property there are residences on the opposite side of a paper alley. So you can go to the next slide. So this is the proposed site plan. So the plan is to keep the current accesses for the Taco Bell to Stewart Street and Eastern Boulevard, and have our proposed improvements connect to both of those accesses. So if you are traveling westbound on Eastern Boulevard, you would make a right into the property, and you could either immediately get into the lane, or if it's backed up a little bit, you would have to make a right, circle around the building, and head to the back of the line. On the east side of the property is the dual drive-through lane. All the new Taco Bells that we work on require dual drive-through lanes. They help with queuing issues. They get people through the lines a lot quicker. If you're on New Stewart Street, we have another access there. You would enter North Stewart, and you could either make a left to go to the perpendicular parking spaces to go into the building, or hop in the beginning of the drive-through lane. We are also proposing a stormwater management facility on the east side of the property, adjacent to Hartman, to address the stormwater requirements of the county. Then if you look in the bottom left corner, that is the proposed facade signage. So there will be a sign on the facade facing Stewart Street. That'll be just the bell icon. Then the facade facing Eastern Boulevard has the larger Taco Bell with the bell in the middle, and the facade facing Hartman has the smaller Taco Bell sign. There's an existing pylon sign near the intersection of Eastern and Stewart Street that will remain and will just be refaced. So the sign area will not change, the height won't change. I think that's it for this layout, or for this slide. You can move on to the next one. This slide is just a preliminary grading plan, and this grading plan will result in the building being essentially the same elevation as the previous building. We're not making any significant changes to the elevation on site. We're matching the existing drainage patterns as best as we can. And as I indicated, there's a stormwater management facility on the east side of the property, which will help mitigate any stormwater increases due to the proposed development. Next sheet. So this is our preliminary landscape plan. It was done in accordance with the county ordinance. I just want to kind of point you to a couple things. Towards the rear of the property, we're proposing a significant evergreen buffer with additional shrubs along it. And our plans don't show it, but we also intend on adding a privacy fence along that property, so that there's significant buffering to the residential uses behind us. There are existing trees. There's several existing trees on site. We were able to keep 2 of them. One of them is by the entrance to Stewart Street. The other one is in the southeastern corner of the property. There's also an existing specimen tree on site that we unfortunately were not able to keep. That we will meet the county ordinance for replacement of that specimen tree, either through additional plantings or field. Next slide. And I will turn the presentation over to Anna.
Thanks, Brian. Hi, good evening, everybody. This is a render of the proposed store Taco Bell. I can speak up a little bit on the building and the visual and the materials. As we can see, the Taco Bell is always evolving the building, looking to bring a modern look. And we can see our main focus on this building is the vestibule, this big glass corner of the building. It's a high ceiling vestibule to bring attention. We also have the patio, which accommodate 12 seats outside. The lower portion of the material is a wood plank. It's a dark matte black color. In the upper part is a metal panel. The parapet height is around 20 feet. You can see the elevations later on. In the back of the house, we have a big void space to create, like I say, the modern visual look. Again, like Brian said, this is the signage with the letters and the bell. The short facade has only the bell. I guess you can put next slide, please. Thank you. This is the drive-through side. I would like to point out that this drive-through signage with the letter and the bell will not be there. We will not propose to be there because we have, as we can see the site plan, we have a fence there, so it won't be a necessary signage on this elevation. But we do like to bring a little bit of touch to the facade, and we propose some mural. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. This is the Eastern Boulevard facade. You can see a little bit of the change of the material there. And we have all the materials scheduled there. The patio, canopy. We can proceed. Thank you. Again, this drive-through facade will not have the signage, the letter, and the bell proposed there, only the murals. We're gonna have the signage on the back, the rear facade of the building, a smaller version of them. We can proceed to the full floor plan. Thank you. And like I said, Taco Bell is always evolving the building. We kept this store is for 40 seats inside, 12 outside. The focus is the line in the kitchen. We bring this configuration to have the long distance of the building, having all the kitchen and the employees can easily do their job and not bump to each other. Like I say, the corner here down left is the vestibule entrance, the high ceiling, where we're gonna have the kiosk area, which you order by yourself and you can pick up on the shelves there. And after hours, that gate, I don't know if you can see well or if you can zoom in, the gate closes, so the dining area closes and you only have access into the vestibule. Yes. And of course, the drive-through. Thank you. This is a little bit more signage. Brian spoke on this. I'll get back to Brian on this.
Yeah, so this signage just provided so you can see what the color scheme is. So it's the purple, white, and black for all the proposed signage. So the pylon sign will look similar to pylon signs on that middle slide. It just depends on what size it currently is. So it'll match the size that the pylon sign currently is. You can keep moving. So we also prepared a lighting plan. The lighting plan will utilize efficient LED fixtures. It'll meet the county requirements for lighting, which will have to be reviewed and approved by the landscaping department. We did receive some feedback regarding this plan, and we have no issues with reducing the heights of the fixtures that are adjacent to the residential properties to ensure that there's no light spillover to those properties. If you go to the next slide, these are just some printouts of what the fixtures would look like generally. And I would also like to, we did receive staff report. So if I could just go through, and do you want me to go through and address any of the comments now, or do we want to wait for questions?
You could just wrap up your presentation, and then we'll go ahead and get to the staff report, and then there will be a discussion after the staff report.
Okay, so that's all I have to say. I don't know if Dino wants to hop back in.
No, I think that's our presentation. Thank you for your time, and we'll listen to and answer any questions.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and open the public comment period. So as a reminder, if you're representing a community group, you will be given 5 minutes. Those who do not represent a group will be allowed 2 minutes to speak. Marta or Jennifer, are there any speakers that have signed up to speak on the project?
I have received nothing in the chat of anybody that would like to speak. So there is one person on here, I believe, for this project. So I'm not sure if they want to speak or not. I unmuted them.
David, would you like to speak?
Yes, how you doing? So my property is on the right-hand side of it.
Sorry, if you could please provide your name and relationships to the property, and you will have 2 minutes to speak.
Okay, so my name is David Sigolum. I own the property 4 Hartman Avenue, which is on the rear right side of the Taco Bell, the residential housing. I just wanted to just raise a couple concerns while the build is being done. Is the fence going to be done before the actual build out to, like, you know, so we won't see any like noise interruptions or anything like that? And is it a tall enough fence to where, because the property is literally in my backyard. Any activity that goes on at Taco Bell, we pretty much hear everything from the drive-through through the noises and stuff at night. We just want to know what type of fence will it be? Will it be like a taller, more like a noise barricading type of fence, or and that's all I pretty much had.
Mr. Segolum, you can go ahead and voice your concerns, and then the applicant can address them at the end.
Okay. Yeah, the fence was one, and the other one was the actual location of the dumpster. It would be located pretty much in basically the front of my property. So the dumpster normally comes around like 3 or 4 in the morning. So right now where my bedroom is, I can pretty much oversee everything that goes on within Taco Bell. Is the dumpster going to be enclosed in to where we can't hear that stuff, and we also have problems with rodents and rats digging under the fence and coming into our property and stuff like that. Is there anything to be done to prevent that, or mitigate that or anything? And that's all I have for now.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Segolum.
No problem.
Would Jennifer or Marta, has anybody else signed up to speak? And then I'd like to give the applicant an opportunity to address the comments if they wish to.
There are no other speakers.
Okay, thank you. Would the applicants like to speak and try to address Mr. Segolum's comments?
Yes. Brian, can you discuss the fence, the existing fence, and the plan for replacing the fence and where it will be replaced?
Yes. So there is currently an existing wood fence behind the Taco Bell property and an existing fence behind the residential property. So the plan is to remove both of the fences and install one continuous privacy fence that would be 6 feet tall. In addition to the fence, which we would put relatively close to the rear property line, probably a foot off it, we're also proposing a significantly heavy buffer of probably 30 evergreen trees with additional shrubs. So currently there's just a fence, which we can see in the photos. You could scroll up.
There you go. Yeah.
So if you zoom in to that site condition 1, the bottom 2 on the left side. So these are going to be a little grainy, but so the bottom left one, that is this image is looking at the trash enclosure with the existing fence on the left-hand side. And then the one on the picture on the left side, the existing fence is on the right side. So as you can see, it's just a fence with the existing curb line really close to the fence. So our plans propose to move that curb line a little bit further away from the residential properties, propose a new fence in the same general location as the existing fence, but then also provide a landscape buffer. So you'll be getting the immediate buffering of the privacy fence with the future additional buffering of the evergreen plantings. So in 10 years, those evergreen plantings will probably end up being 25 feet tall. And the concerns with being able to see the Taco Bell from the bedroom will be mitigated with the landscaping that we're proposing.
Also, Brian, if
And then,
is there any indication? I think Mr. Segolum had a question about the timing of the installation of the fence. Do we know when that will be?
If it's a concern to get it done as early as possible, I'm sure the developer can accommodate that. It really just depends on regrading back there a little bit. We are putting the landscaping in. So it's just when it can be installed and won't be disturbed with the remaining construction. So we can ensure that goes in as early as possible in the construction time frame.
And then the other concern that that Mr. Segolum had was with regard to the dumpster location, and also this is an opportunity to discuss the dumpster enclosure.
Yes, the county has dumpster requirements. So The trash enclosure will be a decorative split face block enclosure with decorative self-closing gates on the front of it. So the enclosure will face Eastern Boulevard. It'll be, hold on 1 second, 7.5 feet tall. And the actual dumpsters inside of it will be tamper-proof, large yardage dumpsters that will be picked up as often as they need to be picked up. So the mitigation with rats, it'll be a brand new enclosure or brand new dumpster within a masonry enclosure. So we'll,
Mr. Cleary,
those two items.
Mr. Cleary, is there a way that you could relate the existing dumpster location to the proposed dumpster location? Will it be in the same location? Would the proposed dumpster be further away from Mr. Segurum's property?
So currently the dumpster is, we can actually use this landscaping plan. So if you zoom in to kind of the rear back right corner of the property or of the building. So where that 37.46 dimension is, so that's about where the current dumpster is, and it faces Stewart, particular to Stewart. And if you look at previous photos, you can see that that dumpster is actually, I can give you a better dimension. Yeah, it's probably about 8 feet off the property line, and our proposed dumpster is 20 feet. So we're pulling it away from the property line, but we are moving it closer to Hartman Avenue.
Great, thank you, Mr. Cleary.
Yeah, and if I may, Dino and Mr. Usafero, yeah, and that, as you can see in that landscape plan, it will be buffered as well, as it is not today. It'll have plantings around it as well, so it should help the neighbors' concerns.
Okay. Marta or Jennifer, anybody else signed up to speak? I think I heard none, but.
No, no one on my end.
All right, great. Thank you very much. So this will officially close the public comment period. Marta, because this is a commercial project, there would be a staff report. Would you please read the staff report?
Sure, thank you, Joe. So Planning Department prepared a staff report based on comprehensive manual of development policies, Baltimore County Master Plan 2030, Baltimore County Landscape Manual, Essex Design Guidelines. So in regards to site design, staff recommends approval. Same to form in image, staff recommends approval. Open space and landscape design, staff recommends approval, subject to the following comments. Number 1, identify on the landscape plan and label all the proposed trees and vegetation to be removed. Clearly label all specimen trees located on the site. Number 2, provide all details for the proposed outdoor seating area. Number 3, indicate whether the existing fence will remain. Provide enhanced landscaping and a fence along the unnamed alley to screen the adjacent residential area from Taco Bell customers and vehicle circulation. Number 4, provide all details, materials, and dimensions for the proposed dumpster enclosure. The enclosure should match the principal structure in proposed materials. All requirements of condition H of the landscape manual are to be met. In regards to streets, parking, and circulation, staff recommends approval subject to the following. There is an existing bus stop on Eastern Boulevard. coordinate with State Highway Administration regarding installation of the bus shelter, provide location and dimensions for the bus shelter, and label it on the plan. Number 2, clearly label on the plan the proposed vehicular circulation. Number 3, revise the plan to clearly show access to the site from North Stewart Street. Number 4, provide a pedestrian connection from Eastern Boulevard to the front entry of the building. Number 5, provide bike racks. Number 6, please note, the site does not meet parking requirements. The applicant will be requesting a variance for 24 parking spaces in lieu of 49 spaces. Signage and lighting. Staff cannot recommend approval of the signage and lighting at this time, subject to the following comment. Number 1, clarify how many signs are proposed for the proposed development and whether a variance will be required. All signs must comply with Section 450 of BCZR and CMDP Division 3, Commercial Development within the urban-rural demarcation line, freestanding signage and lighting. Freestanding identification signs should not exceed the height of the building. Monument type signage is preferred. On the plan, show locations for all proposed signs, provide all dimensions, including the exact height of each proposed sign, and illumination details. Number 3, reduce the proposed 20-foot tall light fixtures adjacent to the residential zone to 18 feet. Per CMDP Division 3, lighting structures adjacent to residential areas should not exceed 18 feet in height and should be designed to prevent spillover of lights onto the adjoining residences. And in regards to architectural design, staff recommends approval. And this concludes our staff report. Thank you, Joe.
Okay, thank you very much, Marta. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and have a panel discussion on any comments or feedback that my fellow panel members may have. So please allow me some time to get my roll here, and we'll start with Mr. Kurjakar this time. Mr. Kurjakar, if you're still here, you can unmute. It's your turn.
Thank you very much. I think the staff report really captured all my concerns and comments in terms of the landscape plan. I don't have any more comments to add.
Thank you, Mr. Kurjakar. Let's proceed to Ms. Sauce.
Yes, good evening. I concur. Staff pretty much addressed everything regarding the landscape and lighting plan. Really do appreciate seeing a photometric plan to review. I do landscape and lighting, so I enjoy looking at how things are done by others. The only thing that I would add is the shade trees along the roadway that are required for the parking lot buffer. You need to be mindful of the overhead wires and whatever utility company those belong to. You should look at the right tree, right place to make sure that the shade trees are adequately sized for being in close proximity with the overhead wires. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Ms. Sauce. Let's go to Mr. Sharma.
All right. So I don't have any additional comments besides the compliance with the staff report and resolving dumpster issue.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. Let's go to Mr. Can.
Thank you. I had one, I guess, concern with the parking lot layout. It seems awkward at the very least that you can come in on North Stewart Street and go straight or left into sort of, it seems like a lot of conflict and traffic movement for those 6 or 7, 8 spaces that occur on the west side of the building. And my question was whether there's an opportunity to push that entrance off of Stewart Street to the north end of that site so that everybody coming in actually always turns to the right, and the folks leaving the pickup line could easily exit directly out. It just seems, I don't know if that's an option, but it just seems like the traffic circulation in that area is going to end up being pretty awkward with cars going in both directions. And the people who park there have to go back down through most of the rest of the site, or at least be in conflict with the people coming out of the drive-through lanes.
Thank you, Mr. Can. Does the applicant want to try to address that comment from Mr. Can?
Brian, are you
Yeah,
able? Yeah.
I can. So to keep the existing accessees because they've been there for 25 or so years. In addition, we would rather not have the main driveway off of Stewart closer to the residences. We'd rather keep it closer to Eastern Boulevard. However, if that's a concern with the panel, I don't think there are any issues with us relocating it to the rear of the property.
I think that, you're challenged with the number of parking spaces already. And it just seems like it would be less confusing for folks if you did that. I mean, something to consider.
All right. Do you have any other comments or questions, Mr. Can?
No, otherwise, I think the staff report sort of addresses everything.
Okay, great. So as a civil engineer, I do have some comments as I know the neighborhood very well. So when I look at the Google aerial in this specific corridor for Eastern Boulevard and Essex, many of the buildings are all pushed up against the road. Very small front yard setbacks, parking at the side or the rear. And I understand that there will be zoning relief needed for the specific parking. But my question is, as it relates to a code provision with regards to the front average setback, how do you anticipate addressing the front average setback with the building at the center, almost to the rear of the site, with the adjacent buildings that would be averaged along the frontage of Eastern Boulevard?
So the front, the commercial building on the other side of North Stewart is right up against Eastern, and then on Hartman there are some other little buildings. I don't really know the character of those buildings, but as you can see, they're only a few feet off of the right of way over there. My interpretation of the front average setback in the cases that I've been involved in this particular zone is that that's a minimum, and that can be and that we will far exceed the front average setback of the commercial buildings within the catchment area that we're required to look at. I think it's 100 feet in each direction. So I don't see a code issue as far as the setback of this building, which meets obviously the required setback for the zone, and also the average setback of the commercial buildings adjacent to the property. So I think that we exceed it, and I believe that that's what's permitted by the code.
Understood. Thank you, Mr. LaFiance. And I'm seeing it looks like to the right property, it looks like 4 or 5, garage type structures that may be there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. As it relates to the circulation, I understand the drive-through queuing and the one way, essentially, when you come in off of Eastern and you're kind of directed to the right, whether you can go into the drive-through queue or circle the building for an in dining experience. I'm looking as it relates to the exterior seating, kind of on the south side of the long face of the building. I would think that one would want that outside seating on the west side, kind of the short side of the building, versus along the drive-through. So I'm curious if the architect or the engineer looked at that and why it was decided to be placed where it is. Because it seems like there's a fair amount of space that could be used, along that south side of the long face that's being shown as landscape, and perhaps the experience could be better if it was on the west side of the building.
Anna, are you in a position to address that?
Sure. It comes basically from the client. It's a decision. The patio, it's a visual element that brings attention. So we look to put on the Easter Boulevard facade because the signage is the way up top and it brings more attention to it. That's the only reason.
Understood. And
Yeah.
you're not having parking there, so I guess if you put it on the west side, it would eliminate even some more parking.
Right.
Correct.
Well, that's the other thing, Joe, is that if you see where we've got the drainage in the backside and the length of that building, right, we're more constrained in that direction than we are on the other side. So,
okay, got it. Thank you all for the responses. All right, so you've successfully addressed my comments and questions. So we're at a point now where we're ready to make a motion. And again, as a reminder, we can approve the project as submitted. We can approve the project with conditions, and a condition could be compliance with the Department of Planning staff report. Or if we feel that the comments are too big, then we would ask the applicant to come back for a second meeting. So there are the three options. Who would like to make a motion at this point?
I would like to make a motion, Joseph.
We hear you. Go ahead,
Okay.
Mr. Kirchhoff.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve the project with the staff conditions to be fulfilled as noted in the staff report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kirchhoff. I before we get to a second, I'd like to just address a comment that I heard from Mr. Can that I think there was a strong suggestion to move the access that's located on North Stewart Street further north. I do want to address that, Mr. Can, that I think if we get and push that access too far back and closer to the community would not be happy about that. So I think for that reason, maybe it becomes a little bit tougher to navigate within the site. But I think when we're thinking about all things, it's existing, it's probably the best suggestion or solution, in my opinion. So I did want to address that, Mr. Can. So there is a motion to approve the project condition upon the staff report. by Mr. Kurjakar. Is there a second? I don't hear a second. So would we like to take another stab at another motion?
Well, if nobody's gonna make a second, is there a discussion why nobody's making a second? Somebody needs to make a second, or if you're not in agreement, you need to take a vote of not taking this motion, make another motion.
Yeah, so I think there's a motion on the floor. I'd like to open it up to if the panel members would like to voice any kind of concerns or comments that you may have, and we'll try to get closer to a motion that is appropriate.
So the motion is on the floor to approve the project with the staff conditions outlined in the staff report.
It's hard to understand what you're saying, Jennifer.
That's what we'll try to figure out. Is that together?
No, it sounds like you're on the moon. So there's a motion on the floor to approve it conditioned upon the staff report. I think what Ms. Nugent's saying is we need to have a vote on that. And then if that doesn't work, we'll try it again. So is there a second to the motion that's on the floor? Hearing no second.
Is there a reason why nobody's making a second? That's what we need to discuss.
Marta, can you hear what Jennifer's saying? I can't.
She said, is there a reason why no one making a second? Because this is just motion and someone need to second it, and then motion will be for approval or not approval on the floor. So motion needs to be second and can be approved or not approved, but there is a process.
I second.
All right,
Sorry, who seconded? I'm sorry.
That was Mr. Sharma.
Thank you.
Mr. Sharma seconded the motion. So at this point, we're going to say all in favor. I heard a motion, a second, and I'm going to come off of mute and say aye as I'm in favor. So that's 3. And who is opposed to the motion?
Donald Can.
Thank you, Mr. Can. Anybody else opposed to the motion? Is Ms. Sauce still on?
Yes, I'm not opposed to it.
So it passes.
So you're not opposed to it. So you're in support of the motion?
Yes, I am in support of the motion.
All right. So the motion 4-1, the motion carries. It is approved, conditioned upon addressing the staff report. Thank you very much, everyone, and best of luck with your project.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
So at this point, because of my direct affiliation with the next project, I will need to officially recuse myself, which means that I will not participate in voting or part of the project. And my associate, Mr. Can, will step in to chair this item on the agenda. So, Mr. Can, the floor is yours. I'm going to go ahead and mute and stop my video.
Very good. Thank you. So the next item, the third item here is at 205 Back Riverneck Road. It's a McDonald's. It's in the Essex Commercial Review area. And we'd welcome the applicant to present this proposal.
Sure, thank you. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. Hi, good evening. My name is Brandon Rao with Bowler. I'm excited to be presenting to you here this evening on behalf of the McDonald's Corporation, who is the owner of the property located at 205 Back River Neck Road in Essex. I'm seeing a bit of a theme here with the proposals tonight. Seems like we're maintaining current uses while improving improvements in the respective properties. So as a Baltimore County resident, it's great to see that kind of investment in the county. Joining me tonight is Rashmi Charana, who's the lead architect with AECom. Also have Ethan Richard, who's a landscape designer with Bowler, as well as Johnny Lisco and Eric McWilliams, also with Bowler. Our team's here to review the proposed raise and rebuild of a freestanding McDonald's at the subject property. The property is located within a county designated commercial revitalization area. And with that, it is located in the Essex Design Review Panel area. It's our intention to present the proposed improvements to the panel, review how the proposed improvements comply with the Essex Design Guidelines and the CMDP, and then review and address the conditions noted in the staff report. And do want to thank the Department of Planning for your comprehensive review and staff report, and generally agree with the findings. But ultimately, we're here tonight requesting the panel's approval of the proposed improvements that will be presented. So before we get into the proposed improvements, do want to identify the existing conditions that set the base for the proposed improvements. So Marta, thanks for flipping to this aerial. So the subject property is outlined on the aerial here in blue. It's identified as Lot 1 and is part of the Middleborough Plaza. The rest of the Lot 2 is the brownish rectangular building just to the north of the subject property. That's the rest of the Middleborough Plaza. Subject property is approximately 1.4, 1.5 acres. The site, for the most part, is owned BLAS, with a strip of the property on the back side, or the, I guess, northeast side, being zoned DR 10.5. The site is currently developed with an existing approximately 4,600 square foot McDonald's freestanding restaurant with drive-through and associated parking. You can see on the layout here, the McDonald's is the white building there, rectangle in the middle. Parking is circles the building. The site is bound by Back River Neck Road to the, we'll call that the west. It is Pole Road to the southeast. And then, as I mentioned, Middleborough Plaza to the north, and then a shared access drive with Middleborough Plaza to the northeast side. If we could switch to now the next slide, Marta, please. Thank you. This is just a further overview of the aerial, and it drops in the zoning, which we just talked, so you can keep sliding. Next slide, please, Marta. Thank you. Here's for additional aerial maps, aerial photos that help identify the context of the site, location of the site, and the surroundings. So you can please continue. The next several slides are site context photos that provide photos of the existing McDonald's and site improvements, as well as some of the surrounding properties. Won't go through each of these just out of the interest of time. Do want to draw your attention to photo number 5, which shows the McDonald's freestanding sign. That sign is located along the frontage of Back River Neck Road, and that sign will remain as it is today. If you please proceed, Marta, through 7, 8, and 9. I think they're the slide numbers of these. I'm happy to come back to visit these if any panelists have any questions. Keep going, please. Yeah, you can keep going, Marta. Thank you. If we could actually jump ahead to slide 12, if you wouldn't mind, it's the site rendering. Awesome, thank you. So the proposed improvements, what you're seeing here is a colored rendering of the proposed improvement, include constructing a 3,694 square foot freestanding McDonald's with what we refer to as a side-by-side drive-through. That's 2 order points there in the upper right corner, then merge into a single pickup lane, and the windows there on the northwest side of the building. Other improvements include parking, pedestrian connectivity, and landscaping. There are 52 parking spaces proposed. Would note that a parking variance will be required to allow for the 52 parking spaces in lieu of the required 60 parking spaces. The existing site access points will also be maintained. So there's one existing site access off of Poles Road, which is in the upper right corner of the site there. That is a shared access that goes back to the Middleborough Plaza, as I previously referenced. And there's also shared access between the subject property, the McDonald's property that's rendered here, and the Middleborough Plaza there to the north off of Back River Neck Road. Site circulation will be one way. You circulate the site counterclockwise, entire way around, kind of following the drive-through orientation as well. From a pedestrian improvement standpoint and connectivity standpoint, we are proposing an ADA accessible connection from Poles Road to the building entry. The dumpster enclosure is proposed in the northern corner there, the back corner, page straight up from that standpoint. I do want to acknowledge that the staff report notes a condition to requesting an outdoor seating area. After talking this with McDonald's, and we considered this as we prepared for the layout, but based on their operational considerations at the site, they've identified that there's such a small percentage of dine-in customers, it really wouldn't make much sense for them to add additional seats. Additionally, McDonald's finds that in the Mid-Atlantic or northern regions, or northeast regions, and based on climate, outdoor seating is used infrequently and would add unnecessary impervious area to the property. So for that reason, McDonald's would prefer not to provide the outdoor seating at this location. The staff report also does acknowledge or does request a bike rack. We take no objection to adding a bike rack, and certainly can work with staff to provide that bike rack near the building. Marta, if you could jump ahead to slide 15, it's the site grading plan. Thank you, that one right there. Great job, thank you. So this site shows the same improvements that we were just reviewing on the color rendering, but also adds in the grading and topography for reference. So the grading for the proposed improvements will be similar to what's there today. And you've noticed that the proposed building is in relatively the same location as the existing building, and parking and site improvements are relatively similar to what's there today. Of note, there is approximately as much as a 5-foot elevation difference from the existing sidewalk along Back River Neck Road to the parking that's there adjacent to head-in parking there adjacent to Back River Neck Road. The staff report had noted a request to add a pedestrian path from Back River Neck Road to the building entry. But based on the topography that's there, again, that 5-foot of elevation difference, that connection is not feasible. At this point, if we could go back to slide 11, which should be the landscape plan, I'll turn it over to Ethan, who will help summarize the landscape design.
Perfect. Thank you, Brandon. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time. So from the landscape architecture side of things, our goal was to create a cohesive landscape design with a resilient plant palette that seamlessly integrates seasonal interest, species diversity, and jurisdictional compliance with Baltimore County. Our approach contributes to a thriving biodiverse landscape that we believe enriches the community and gives the site a true sense of place. To meet the Baltimore County compliance, we designed the site according to the following code requirements. Condition A, which is street frontage and streetscape. This encapsulates Back River Neck Road, Bowles Road, the eastern interior roadway to the site, and the northern interior roadway to the site. The second one, we have condition B, which is parking adjacent to public road and commercial properties. This is about perimeter screening of the parking lot. So that's the north, east, south, and west property lines of the site. We have interior landscaping, which just talks about the total parking spaces and how that relates to the landscape planting. And then lastly, the dumpster pad screening that needed to be taken care of. So with condition A, we planted red maples around the perimeter and then ornamentals, red buds. And then for condition B, the interior parking, we did Quercus alba, white oak in the parking islands to help provide shade. And then the perimeter shrubs around the parking lot, we did Virginia sweet spires, Parsons juniper, spice bush, inkberry holly. All of those are native minus the Parsons juniper. And then the dumpster area, we did cherry laurel, which is also a Maryland native. Lastly, for the internal bits of the site, we proposed red twig dogwood, blue mist spirea, English lavender, and black-eyed Susan, which are all native minus the blue mist spirea. Receiving the feedback from the staff report, we had noticed that they wanted to identify the landscape plan and label all proposed trees and vegetation to be removed. Clearly label any specimen trees located on site. We are open to showing the existing removed trees going forward into schematic and final landscape plans. And that's it for me. I'd like to pass it to Rashmi to present building design. Thank you.
Thanks, Ethan. So we can go to the rendering or the floor plan. The next slide. Next one to the building elevation. I think it's slide 6. Yes, this is the one. So as you see in the rendering, the main building finish is hardy board, and along the corners we have aluminum battens, and above the canopy we have the ephes. That's along where you have your arch McDonald logo, and the window surround is Apollic metal panel finish, and the building height is about 20 feet 9.5 inches, so that covers all the RTU rooftop units. And we can go to the next slide. That's the floor plan. So as you see in the floor plan, we have the two entrances along the front and the non-drive-through side. On the front, we have this dining with the kiosk, the front counter, and there's a pickup window which is accessible from the vestibule in case the restaurant is closed. And towards the rear, we have your support area with the freezer, cooler, kitchen. This is the trash enclosure. That's the which is a brick finish, and the color will match the main building, and the gates are opaque here for the dumpster.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
Thank you, Rashmi. Thank you, Ethan. Marta, if you could continue on to the, I think signage is next slide down. Yeah, there we go. So this slide reflects the proposed signage that's located around the property. As I mentioned, the existing pylon sign, freestanding sign, it's located at the corner of the entrance off of Back River Neck Road, will remain. The other signage located here consists of building mounted signage that Rashmi just reviewed, wayfinding signage, enter, exit, things like that, so that vehicles can find their way around the site. Parking signage to help support the operations, and whether it be the McDelivery, the pickup, et cetera, that McDonald's offers as part of their services. And then also signage to support the drive-through, whether it be the menu board or order points and the like. We'll need to pursue a variance for relief from section 450 of the zoning regulations, which is the signage regulations. The relief will include the number of building mounted signs, the number of menu board signs, the height of the menu boards, the height for the drive-through sign and the double gateway and order here sign on the order canopy, and then the pickup signage height. If you could proceed then to the final slide, which is slide 20. This here is a lighting spec for the lighting fixture, excuse me, for the freestanding light poles that would be proposed at the property. These are efficient LED fixtures. We're proposing a 24-foot high mounting height for the light poles. The lighting plan will be reviewed by the county landscape architect as we move through the entitlements process. Staff did note and request that we provide 18-foot poles on the rear side where it's closer to the residential properties, and we have no objection to that. So with that, we conclude our presentation. We're here obviously to answer any questions as you move forward through your deliberation. We thank planning staff for your review of the staff report, and also thank you for your time and consideration of the project.
Very good. We appreciate it. Very well done. At this time, the floor would be open to public input or feedback from the community. Marta, do we have any speakers, or is anybody signed up to speak on the part of the community?
No, I don't have anyone on my end. Jen, do we have anyone?
No, nobody.
Okay.
Okay, hearing that, then, as Joe mentioned before, we'll close the time for public comment. So again, at this point, would you read our staff report?
Sure, thank you, Donald. So Planning Department prepared this staff report based on comprehensive manual development policies, Baltimore County Master Plan 2030, Baltimore County Landscape Manual, in regards to site design, staff recommends approval. In regards to form and image, staff defers approval of the form and image to the design review panel. In regards to open space and landscape design, staff recommends approval, subject to the following comments. Number 1, identify on the landscape plan and label all the proposed trees and vegetation to be removed. Clearly label any specimen trees located on the site. And number 2, provide an outdoor seating area. In regards to streets, parking, and circulation, staff recommends approval, subject to the following. Number 1, provide a pedestrian connection from Back River Neck Road to the front entry of the building. Number 2, provide bike racks. Number 3, please note, the site does not meet parking requirements. The applicant will be requesting a variance to allow 52 off-street parking spaces in lieu of the required 60 spaces. Additionally, a portion of the subject property is zoned DR 10.5, and the applicant will be requesting a special hearing to provide appropriate relief to allow parking for commercial use within a residential zone DR 10.5. In regards to signage and lighting, staff recommends approval subject to the following comments. Number 1, clarify how many signs are proposed for the proposed development and whether a variance will be required. All signs must comply with Section 450 of BCZR. Division 3, commercial development within the urban-rural demarcation line. Freestanding identification signs should not exceed the height of the building. Monuments type signage is preferred. And number 2, reduce the proposed 20-foot tall light fixtures adjacent to the residential zone to 18 feet per CMDP, Division 3. And lighting structures adjacent to residential areas should not exceed 18 feet in height and should be designed to prevent spillover of lights onto adjoining residences. Architectural design, staff defers approval of the architectural design to the design review panel subject to the following comment. Number 1, IFAS is not recommended on ground floor. Clarify and label on the architectural elevation drawings where the IFAS materials listed in the legend is provided. And this concludes our staff report. Thank you, Donald.
Thank you, Marta. Very good. So once again, at this point, welcome any comments from the panel. Ms. Sauce.
Yes, thank you for the very thoughtful and well put together presentation. I was just looking online. I appreciate the use of mostly native plants, really good landscape design. I think I saw on the one that was submitted on our portal that there was some Cotinus cogigrio, some smoke bush, which is one of my favorite ornamental trees. So bravo for adding that splash of color into the back. My only comment would be, sorry, going through my notes. I don't see it labeled on that plan, but just double check that. But the shade trees along Back River Neck Road, just be mindful of those with the proximity to the overhead wires. I don't know if you're relocating or going underground with those poles or if they're to remain, but if they are to remain, I would just specify something that can grow within close proximity to those lines. Thank you.
Very good.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Mr. Sharma.
So thank you. Don't have any additional comments besides the staff report. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Kurjasar.
He requested he can leave, so we still have a quorum, Donald.
So the three of us are a quorum?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So would someone like to make a motion? Ms. Sauce or Mr. Sharma?
I can try to make a motion. Didn't really hear any comments or opposition, so I say that we approve the plan with the understanding that Baltimore County will review any further plans and approve it with their comments.
To clarify, approve it with the comments from the staff.
Yes, with the comments from the staff review.
Thank you. Is there a second? Mr. Sharma, can you second?
I second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Motion passes. And so we wish you well proceeding with this project and all of your variances. The understanding is, if I'm assuming that if some of these variances are not successful, then we would review whatever modifications had to be made. But otherwise, good luck with that. And I think it's been approved. So
thank you all very much. We appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
And is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Very good. Thank you all for a long-ish evening, but good job. We appreciate it.
Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
night.
everybody.